It is exactly 11:14 on a Tuesday morning and you are sitting in traffic on the highway. You look to your left and there it is. A brand new, jet black pickup truck with enough chrome to blind a pilot and a grille so massive it looks like it belongs on a locomotive. The driver looks relaxed, one hand on the leather-wrapped steering wheel, probably listening to a podcast about success while they navigate their way to an office building. To most people, that person is the picture of the American dream. They have the career, the status, and the vehicle to prove it. But what you are actually looking at is a financial crime scene. If you knew the numbers behind that signature at the dealership, you wouldn't be envious. You would be terrified. My name is Aliana, and on this channel, we do not deal in financial fairy tales. We deal in mathematics. Today, we are exposing what I call the $1,200 monthly mistake. This is a phenomenon that has quietly taken over the American middle class, transforming hardworking professionals into what the data describes as automotive indentured servants. We are going to run the brutal math on why your car is likely the single biggest obstacle standing between you and the $100,000 or $1 million milestones we talk about on this channel. We are going to look at the anatomy of the car payment trap, the psychological phenomenon of Automotive Stockholm Syndrome, and the $1.6 million opportunity cost that you are voluntarily sacrificing for the smell of new leather. If you are ready to stop looking rich and actually start being wealthy, then you need to hear this. Let us start with the most obvious question, which is how much are we actually talking about here? When I share the average car payment statistics with people, they usually assume I am making the numbers up because they sound like a glitch in the simulation. In 2026, the average new car payment in America has officially crossed into a territory that would have been considered absolute insanity just a decade ago. We are seeing monthly payments that exceed what many people pay for their actual housing. The average new car payment has climbed over $700 per month, and for the trucks and SUVs that have become the default choice for most buyers, that number routinely hits $900. But the specific trap we are discussing today is the $1,200 payment. You might wonder who is signing for a $1,200 monthly car payment. The answer is regular people. We are talking about teachers, nurses, mechanics, and office managers. They are not secret millionaires. They are people who have been sucked into a system designed to make impossible payments seem possible through a series of financial gymnastics that would make a circus performer jealous. The primary tool of this trap is the extended loan term. It used to be that a car loan was 3 years, maybe 4 if you really pushed it. Those days are as dead as the flip phone. Today, car loans routinely stretch to 6, 7, or 8 years. Some lenders are even offering 10-year car loans, which is essentially a financial horror movie. The appeal of the long-term loan is obvious to a buyer who is focused solely on their monthly budget. If you spread a $60,000 truck payment over 8 years instead of 4, the monthly payment drops significantly. Suddenly, a vehicle that would have required a $1,500 monthly payment becomes manageable at $900 or $1,000. The buyer focuses on that one monthly number and ignores the fact that they will be paying for that truck long after its warranty has expired and long after its value has plummeted. By year 5 or 6 of an 8-year loan, you will almost certainly owe significantly more than the vehicle is worth. You are trapped in what is called negative equity, unable to sell or trade the vehicle without writing a massive check to the bank just to get out from under the debt. But the $1,200 monthly payment is just the tip of the iceberg because the true cost of car ownership is much higher than the loan signature. Imagine you buy a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan at 6% interest. Over those 7 years, you will pay approximately $67,000 in total payments to the bank. But then you have to insure a $60,000 asset. At $250 a month for insurance, you are looking at $21,000 over that same period. Then there is the fuel. A massive truck getting 15 miles per gallon in real-world conditions means you are spending roughly $350 a month on gas, which adds another $29,000 over the term. Finally, you have maintenance. Modern vehicles are incredibly complex machines with sophisticated emission systems and premium tires. A simple brake job on a new truck can cost $1,200. When you factor in all repairs, you can budget at least $15,000 over 7 years. When you add all of this up, you are spending over $130,000 on transportation over 7 years. And at the end of that stretch, you own a vehicle that is worth maybe $15,000 if you have taken perfect care of it. You have essentially paid $130,000 for the privilege of driving a $15,000 asset. This is not an investment, it is wealth destruction with cup holders and heated seats. While you were making those payments, you were choosing temporary pleasure over permanent freedom. You were choosing to look successful to strangers on the highway rather than building the foundation that would allow you to never have to work again. This leads us to the psychological side of the trap, which I call Automotive Stockholm Syndrome. This is when you become emotionally attached to the very thing that is keeping you financially captive. The truck or the SUV is no longer just a way to get to work, it becomes a statement about who you are as a person. It shows that you are reliable, hardworking, and successful. The automotive industry understands this psychology better than you understand yourself. They have spent billions of dollars on marketing to convince you that your self-worth is tied to the grille of your vehicle. They do not sell cars, they sell dreams and social status. They sell the fantasy that you are the kind of person who climbs mountains, even if the closest you ever get to off-roading is parking on the grass at a local park. This emotional manipulation makes it easy to justify a $1,200 payment that is completely irrational from a mathematical standpoint. People will defend their truck payment with more passion than they defend their retirement strategy because the truck is visible and the retirement account is not. They would rather drive a $70,000 vehicle while searching their couch cushions for gas money than drive a $10,000 car with $60,000 in the bank. This is what I call the confidence of the poor. It is an outward projection of success that masks a reality of extreme financial fragility. You look like you have made it, but you are one paycheck or one medical bill away from a total collapse because your car payment is consuming 25% to 30% of your take-home pay. Now, let us talk about the most depressing part of this equation, which is the opportunity cost. On this channel, we frequently discuss the power of compound interest and how time is your most valuable asset. Every dollar you spend today is not just a dollar, it is multiple future dollars that you are giving up. If you avoided that $1,200 monthly mistake and instead chose to drive a reliable used vehicle for cash, and you invested that $1,200 into a simple index fund earning an 8% return, the math is staggering. In 10 years, you would have roughly $216,000. In 20 years, that money grows to over $700,000. And in 30 years, you are looking at over $1.6 million. That is the real price of the shiny truck in the driveway. It is not $60,000. It is $1.6 million of your future freedom. Most people complain that they cannot afford to save for retirement or that they cannot find $100 a week to reach the $100,000 milestone, which we have established is the point where wealth starts to snowball. Yet, they are unconsciously choosing to give $1,200 a month to a bank for a depreciating asset. The person driving the flashy new car is often the most stressed person in the room, while the person driving the 10-year-old Toyota is quietly building a $1 million portfolio and sleeping better at night. Reclaiming that car payment is the single fastest way to move from financial survival to actual wealth building. The $1,200 car payment is a permission slip you have to ask for every time you want to do something different with your life. If you have a $1,200 obligation every 30 days, you cannot afford to leave a toxic job. You cannot afford to take a pay cut to do work that actually matters. You cannot afford to take a risk on a new business venture. Your car has become your master, and you are its slave. You are working 40 hours a week just to fund a machine that is sitting in your driveway losing value every minute. Real wealth is about choices, and you have traded all of your choices for a better sound system and a panoramic sunroof. So how do you break the chains of this automotive slavery? You have to fundamentally change how you view transportation. A car is a tool that gets you from point A to point B. It is a depreciating liability, not an investment. To achieve financial independence, you need to follow a different set of rules. First, you should look at the 3 to 5 year rule. Buy a vehicle that has already taken the massive 40% depreciation hit during its first few years. Let someone else pay the stupid tax of buying it new while you drive a perfectly functional, modern vehicle for half the price. Second, stick to the reliability titans. Brands like Toyota and Honda may not turn heads at a red light, but they will run for 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. A 10-year-old Corolla is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of someone who understands the math of wealth. Next, you must apply the 15-65-20 rule to your transportation costs. This means your fundamental living expenses, which include your housing and your car, should never exceed 65% of your take-home pay. If adding a $1,200 car payment pushes your necessities to 75% or 80%, you simply cannot afford that car, no matter what the dealer tells you. And when you do go to the dealership, never ask what the monthly payment will be. That is the question they use to manipulate you. They will stretch the loan term to 10 years just to get the monthly number down to what you want to hear. Instead, ask what the total cost of the loan will be over the entire term and what the interest rate is. If you cannot afford to pay for the car over a 3 or 4 year term, you cannot afford the car. If you are already stuck in a high car payment, it is time for some brutal honesty. If you are upside down on the loan, do not roll that negative equity into a new car. That is how you enter a debt spiral that can take a decade to escape. You may need to sell the vehicle, take a small loss, and buy a reliable bidder for cash while you rebuild your savings. It is a painful move in the short term, but it is the move that sets you free in the long term. You have to decide if you want to look rich or if you want to be rich. For 90% of the population, you cannot do both. Every dollar you spend on a car payment is a dollar that is not working for your future. Think back to the $10,000 milestone we discussed. We talked about how $10,000 is the point where your body chemistry actually changes because your cortisol levels drop. You stop panicking about the check engine light and start viewing it as a minor annoyance. But if you have a $1,200 car payment, you can never truly experience that peace of mind. Even if you have $10,000 in the bank, it is essentially spoken for by the bank that owns your truck. You are still playing defense. You are still one bad month away from a crisis. True financial security only comes when you eliminate the unnecessary monthly payments that are strangling your cash flow. The reality of 2026 is that the system is designed to keep you on the financial hamster wheel. Marketing will tell you that you need the newest version of everything to be a successful adult. But the people who actually build lasting wealth are the ones who can resist that noise. They are the ones who are comfortable being different from their peer group. They drive the older cars and live in the modest homes while their friends are financing $70,000 trucks and complaining about being broke. The real win is not the vehicle you drive. The real win is the freedom to wake up every morning and decide what you want to do with your day instead of what you have to do to pay the bills. Don't trade permanent freedom for temporary status. Don't let a hunk of metal in your driveway become the reason you have to work until you are 75. Reclaim your income, reclaim your cash flow, and start putting that money to work in assets that grow rather than liabilities that rot. Your future millionaire self is not going to remember the smell of the new truck you bought in 2026. They are going to remember the discipline you had to say no to the trap and yes to your freedom. If this deep dive into the brutal math of car payments helped you see the truth, then give this video a thumbs up. Share it with that friend who is currently tempted by a $1,200 car payment they cannot afford. I am Aliana. Start investing in your freedom today, because 10 years from now, you will either be driving that same old Toyota with $200,000 in the bank, or you will be signing for another new truck, wondering where all your money went. The choice is yours. Make the right one.